Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win, or you find a way to lose. Claressa Shields is growing up right in front of us, people. 30 years old. People say that she's just now trying to figure out life. I don't know. But what I do know is this. Check this out. Claressa Shields has just announced her next fight. 22 February, rematch in DEZURN. Win records, Demetrius Salita. So everything that she talked about, looks like it's happening. She has fought DEZURN before. It's going to be in Detroit, obviously. That's where she needs to fight. It only makes sense, man. If you can sell out the place, get everybody to turn out and support you, that's what it should be. But, the bottom line is she's back. She is fighting. We have an opponent. So I just want to throw that out to you. But this video is not about that, okay? It's about the live last night, what I was hearing a lot of the people say. Where they feel that, Claressa Shields has just grown up in front of all of us. And I said, you know what, maybe you guys are right. But one thing I do know is Claressa Shields, very talented, one of the best boxers, and you're going to get to see her fight on February 22nd if you haven't seen her fight. One of the best female boxing's ever produced. How's she going to perform on the 22nd? I don't know. Wonder if all that liquor and mac and cheese is going to take something out of her. But the bottom line is, when she gets in the ring, she performs. You'd probably be a fool to bet against her in most instances, especially in the past. But going forward now, I don't know if I'm comfortable saying that. But that's neither here nor there. The conversation around her has slowly shifted from purely athletic praise to a deeper and more complex discussion about her identity, her behavior, and her emotional development, and the impact of her upbringing. And this is a result of her going on all these interviews and just talking about her truth. And you gotta respect anyone who can come out here and say, you know what, this is me. I'm not ashamed of it. This is what I've been through. Because when she did that, a lot of people took it as an opportunity to throw daggers at her, throw rocks at her. And I don't think that's fair to talk about the traumas she experienced. She was a child. So when I hear people saying shit about that, I'm just like, but it's social media. But if you want to talk about her attitude as an adult and cussing and carrying on and all this bullshit, to me, that's fair play. But anything that happened when she was a child, that's wrong for anyone to want to target that and use that as a way to try to, hurt her. That's a good thing I don't run into people like that, man, because I ain't lying, man. I'd probably lose my cool. As much as I have a tough time, man, trying to support Claressa Shields like I used to, I 100%, no kidding. If I was out somewhere and Claressa Shields was there and somebody said something to her out the way about that, no kidding, I would jump into her defense. I'd probably get busy out there. I just have zero tolerance for that shit. And she'd probably be shocked, but that's just the truth. Don't do that. But that being said, okay, a lot of people know a lot about her experiences and the impact of her upbringing. Many fans, commentators, and even fellow athletes have begun asking a question that many were afraid to say publicly. Is Claressa Shields actually growing up emotionally right in front of the world at 30 years old after a childhood full of, trauma, instability, and delayed development? Because when you watch the way she speaks, reacts, responds, and behaves, it becomes harder to deny that while she has the resume and achievements of a seasoned champion, she sometimes shows the emotional age of someone who is still learning life's basic lessons. This isn't a video to make fun of her. This isn't a video to make jokes. This is a video to it's just a video which is an extension of the live we did last night, where there were some very interesting points made. Not everything is jokes, you know what I'm saying? But some very interesting points made. And I was like, you know what, I think I should talk about that. But Claressa has been open for years about the trauma she endured growing up in Flint, Michigan, talks about the poverty, assault, instability, and childhood full of survival instead of childhood development. Um, just from the research that I've done, when a young person grows up in a traumatic environment, the brain's emotional development can be delayed. Neurologically, trauma causes children to become hypermature in survival instincts, but underdeveloped in emotional regulation, communication, and internal identity. That's why some people leave abusive or chaotic childhoods with adult bodies and adult responsibilities. Yet emotionally, they are still stuck in the age where the trauma began. That makes sense. Many psychologists describe this as arrested development, not as an insult, but as a clinical understanding of how trauma shapes the brain. I think a lot of us have a little bit of this arrested development. But when it comes to Shields, even she, admitted that she didn't start speaking until very late as a child, something that deeply affects a person's social growth. A late speaking child often struggles to express themselves, relate to others, and regulate emotions. Communication is a foundation of emotional maturity. So when speech develops late, many other pieces develop late as well. Combine that with abuse, chaos, poverty, and the constant need to defend yourself physically and emotionally, and you get a child who grows up knowing how to fight, but not knowing how to communicate, not knowing how to validate, not knowing how to soothe, or understand her own emotions. As a result, even though Claressa is 30, many fans see traits that resemble a teenager trying to figure out who she is. Again, arrested development, how trauma shapes the brain. Many of her controversial decisions, her confrontational social media presence, which is kind of crazy, and her sudden emotional swings, her tendency to respond aggressively to criticism, and her habit of inserting herself into every online disagreement often look like someone who is emotionally still searching for stable identity. Most people figure out who they are between the ages of 13 and 18. I'm telling you that shit. I know that firsthand. I got two sons between those ages, and I talk to them all the time. You can see that one that's about to be 16. He's already going a direction, and I see a lot of good, and I see some things that concern me. But I just keep talking to him to try to work through that to make sure we make those refinements now before that shit becomes set in stone. But see, that shit about people figuring out who they are between ages 13 and 18, Claressa didn't get that window. She was surviving, defending, fighting, helping raise siblings, and trying to escape Flint. Now at age 30, she's doing what many teenagers did secretly at 14, questioning herself, experimenting with personality, seeking validation, reacting impulsively, and learning boundaries the hard way. This is why so many people describe her as a phenomenal champion with the mentality of a teenager. Not because she's unintelligent, even though some people like to say that. That's not the case. She's not devoid of intelligence. But because emotionally she is still progressing through stages she never had a chance to complete, which is what, I think. But hey, it's just a conversation. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. So don't poke me in the eyeball, McNicholas. When someone lives through trauma, emotional growth freezes. And when life becomes more stable in adulthood, the brain finally starts picking up where it left off. That means Shields may literally be going through emotional adolescence now, late, but she's doing it publicly. And that's why I think it's interesting. When someone lives through trauma, emotional growth freezes. And when life becomes more stable in adulthood, the brain finally starts picking up where it left off. So there's a bit of a disconnect. That means Shields may be literally going through some emotional adolescence now in the public real time. Her life experiences show it too. She's indecisive about her personal image, which we've all seen that. Do I wear makeup? Do I not wear makeup? Do I wear sweats? What kind of dress do I wear? Do I wear revealing clothes? You know what I'm saying? One day she wants to be a classy role model. The next day she wants to be a comedian. The next day a gangster. The next day a rapper. The next day a relatable, trash-talking social media personality. her behavior swings because she's still testing identity. So this kind of makes sense. Young people do this in high school or early college. Shields doing it in front of millions of people while being a world champion, two-time gold medalist. And people are sitting here not understanding, but I'm trying to understand it because I used to really think highly of her and like, yo, this girl should be a gazillionaire. But even I don't feel like that no more, and I'm trying to understand her more because it's got to be a reason for a person to conduct herself the way she does, and I think this give me an opportunity to better understand her, and also when I'm dealing with people, I deal with a lot of young people too. So I'm always reading up on stuff like this. So when I'm in a situation with somebody and maybe they've misplaced their self government, instead of me reacting from the critical parent um, transaction, I can be more as an adult, and this helps me to better understand. And that's what I'm trying to do here with understanding Claressa Shields, because what she's doing in front of millions, for me, the uneducated guy, is to me seems crazy, but there's an explanation. You know what I mean? And many fans are confused by her need for attention, her emotional responses to critics, her confrontational style online, and her constant need to defend herself verbally. But these behaviors often emerge in individuals who never develop secure emotional grounding as children. They grow up seeking constant validation, feeling easily attacked, and using aggression as a shield. Claressa's life has conditioned her to protect herself at all costs, not just physically in the ring, but emotionally in every interaction. And because she's famous, she's wealthy. I won't even comment on that. And successful, because I'm not trying to make a funny video. But because she's famous, wealthy, and successful, she never gets privacy to explore who she is. And with her relationship, it's out there for the world to see. Everything she does is screenshot, recorded, mocked, or debated. That's a fact. Imagine trying to finish your emotional childhood while the whole world is judging you. Forces the process to become louder, messier, more chaotic, and take even longer. Claressa's relationship, she's had several out there in the public, several engagements, several fiancés. That shit reflects her emotional journey as well. Fans have frequently questioned her dating life, of course, her friendships, of course, her personal choices, and her family members and the things her family members have come out here and said about her. The fans are on it. They're paying attention and they're hearing. But that's why for me, it's like, let me throw something different, a little plot twist. Because everybody's going a certain direction with Claressa Shields. Even I had to stop and check myself and say, okay, I don't agree with the Layla Ali Muhammad Ali stuff. We all know that. But let me try to better understand what we're dealing with here. But still, some believe she's still figuring out what she wants in a partner because she never had a healthy relationship and never had healthy relationship models growing up. So this leads to scattered decision making, inconsistency, and emotional impulsivity, traits common to those still developing identity and emotional consistency. Many feel she hasn't fully settled into the mindset of a mature adult yet, not because she doesn't want to, but because growth was delayed by trauma. That's interesting. So is Claressa Shields growing up in front of us like what some of the people were saying last night? After reading this, maybe there's some truth to it. Maybe. Many fans believe she is. The mistakes, the public arguments, the contradictions, the emotional swings, and the changing identity, it all looks like someone learning late life lessons that most people learn at age 12 to 17. So when they say, yo, she acting her shoe size, no kidding. She really is. Because if her shoe size is around a 10 or 11, that's kind of where she could be mentally. And she's working through that um, to be more mature and to have, the way she behaved kind of mirror that of what you would expect from a 30-year-old, especially a 30-year-old champion and a two-time Olympic gold medalist. But the bottom line is the fact that she's still learning late life lessons, that's not a total failure. It's just a side effect of trauma. So she is healing and learning on the global stage, which is extremely difficult. So, maybe we should be more understanding. Her behavior frustrates fans because they expect a 30-year-old world champion to behave like one. But her brain didn't get the emotional foundation most people had. She's learning boundaries, accountability, emotional stability, and self awareness late because she never got to learn them early. Her maturity in the ring is unmatched. Her maturity outside the ring is still developing. The real question is whether she can grow into the stable version of herself that fans want to see. I think she can. It's going to take a lot of work. But man, she's so far left with it. The way her aggression and volatility that, I don't know how soon it's going to take place, but will she embrace mentorship, therapy, or guidance? I think she will. I think she has to. Will she continue to react emotionally to criticism? I think eventually she'll get control of it, but as of right now, no. But with time, yes. Will she find peace with her identity? Hope so, because all this makeup and weave and eyelashes and my 90K on my wrist and shit around my 100K on my neck. I prefer the Claressa Shields with the 2 braids in the head. That's it. And was whipping ass. I like that one better. Because that was natural. That was her bread and butter. The fighter. Not out here trying to be looking like a Mardi Gras, lights, camera, action. Like that ain't her. Carnival. Nah, she too much. Too much. But will she find peace with her identity? I don't know. These answers determine whether she becomes the Serena Williams of boxing or the Antonio Brown of boxing. The path she walks over the next few years will define her legacy far more than her resume ever will, because the stuff that she had happen to her in 2025 has not been good. There's so much attention on her right now. It's not the good kind of attention, even though some people say, hey, if they're not talking about you, you're not doing your job. So in that case, maybe she's winning, still some growing to do, because everybody's talking about her right now. She has a big fight coming up on the 22nd, a fight that, with where Claressa Shields is right now, we know she was drinking all that liquor, eating mac and cheese and shit. Out of shape. We all know how that alcohol affects the brain and your ability to process and react. We're gonna see if this shit affected her, and also the stress and the BS from how fans and the trolls have been going at her. We're gonna see if she takes into the ring and fights, better than ever. If she goes in the ring and she has a lackluster performance, even in victory. But I don't know. Is she stuck at age 15 mentally? I think there's some truth about the lack of emotional development, trauma, fame, arrested growth. Hey, man, people might be right. But I just think there's a hidden reality behind Claressa Shields' behavior. Hey, man, I try to break it down, but anyway, more to come. She has a fight coming up. Looking forward to that. Your best of luck to Claressa Shields. I'll be on tonight at 9 o'clock. We're going to talk about everything. Keep cool. I'm in the breeze.